we sometimes find ourselves in a situation where we basically have to start at the beginning and at a point that feels far off of where we think that we are, or that we think that we should be. And sometimes we just have to accept that situation, and that is a very, very difficult thing to do, because if you've already done something, then deep down in yourself, you know that you can do it. You know that it's possible. And you might even think to yourself that that should be the situation or the position that you're in. But sometimes just if you haven't done anything for a couple of months, for maybe for a longer period of time, you just find yourself going back. You just find yourself having to start at the basics, at the beginning level. And because of the fact that you know that you can do it, because you've done it, you cannot, it's very hard to accept that situation, because you know how it feels to be at another level. You know how it is to be at another level, but you feel like you just don't have enough of it in yourself at that moment, and just something doesn't feel right. Something just doesn't feel right. So let's say, for example, let's take an example out of my own life. I have run a marathon. I have done triathlons. I've done an Ironman, an half Ironman. But currently, I find myself in a position where I'm really struggling to run even 5 kilometers. And it's not that I cannot run 5 kilometers, but even a 5K already feels very, very hard for me and very difficult for me to do. Now, I have not been running, or I've not been consistently running or working out for a longer period of time. So it is logical for me that I cannot now go and run 42 kilometers. But deep down inside myself, I know that I'm capable of doing it. So I think to myself that I at least should be able to simply or easily run a half marathon, to run 21K. But that's just not in myself at this moment. And that's something that I wouldn't say struggling with, but just something that I'm trying to accept. Because if I go out there and I'm trying to run, and at 4 kilometers, I already feel like I have to take a break because I have to catch my breath, that feels very, very bad. That feels very, very difficult. But sometimes, and that's the point that I'm trying to make, we find ourselves in a situation where we just cannot do, or that we are not in the right state to achieve those certain things that we have done in the past. So in the situation in my life where I have run a marathon, I was running maybe 5-6 times a week. I was doing that every day. My whole life was about running that marathon, or at least training for that marathon, training towards that marathon. Now I'm in a situation where I have done those things, and it's not, at least for me, it's not that important anymore, because I have already done that. It was a very big goal for me to at least do it once. Now I've done it. I would want to run a marathon again, but it's just not at this moment the thing that I am putting all my time and effort into. And that's why it's always a little bit to the side. I'm not that committed to going out and run every day, because if it just simply doesn't work out and I have other things to do, I'm just not going to run. And that is all about having a certain mission at a certain moment in your life. In a certain moment in my life, I had a mission of running a marathon. I had a mission of going out and doing an Ironman, or at least a half Ironman 70.3. I had that mission and nothing else mattered to me. It was all about that. Yes, I did go to work. Yes, I did do other things. But if I had to make the choice between going out with my friends or doing whatever and having to train, I would always go and choose to go and train. So everything in my life was around going and training towards that goal. Now I simply have a whole different goal. And that's why if I then have to make the choice between going out and training and having to, in this stage of my life, my mission is to start working for myself and building my own business, I'm always going to choose building my business or working on my business. So in my mind, I'm thinking I should be able to run that half marathon, but in reality, I'm only able to run a 5K. And if I do want to run that half marathon, I simply have to put in the work again. And yes, if I'm able to put in that work again, I do have some basics and I do have that knowledge, so I know what to do, but I still have to put in the work. And the same goes, as I said, for now building my business. I am literally just starting at the beginning, and I'm putting all my time and effort into it in making that work. But if I am at a certain moment in my life, I've maybe hopefully done it, I still have to put in that time and I still have to put in that effort, because if I don't, I will fall back, and I will also have to start at that beginning. But first of all, I think that it is always very important. That's also something that I am always trying to do, at least at this stage in my life, is to know and understand where it is that I'm going to go, or where it is that I want to go. So again, in this stage of my life, where I want to go is build my business and work for myself and have a business. That's where I'm trying to go. But if you don't know where you're trying to go, or if you don't know where you want to go, you just do certain things, maybe a little bit of this, maybe working a little bit on my business, trying to a little bit train for a marathon, but it's nothing. I'm not committed to anything, and I'm not putting all my time and effort into that one thing. And the more time and effort you put into one thing, the better that is going to go. Does that mean that I cannot build a business or have a business and run a marathon? Definitely not. But everyone has their own level, and everyone has their own things that they can and cannot do. For me at this stage, I cannot do both. Maybe someone else can do both, but he or she cannot do something else that I may be doing. And that is also the same for you. We have to accept simply that we cannot do everything that other people are doing. And yes, I think that it's very important to look at other people and to get inspired by other people, and think that if someone else achieves something or is in a certain situation or is in a certain position, that it should be a motivation for us to also try and to get there. But we just simply don't know what other people are doing, what other things that people have that we don't have. So comparison in that situation, or comparison to that point, literally doesn't help at all. I think that we can only take it as inspiration and try to work towards something, but also just remind ourselves that we are at a certain level. I am at a certain level. I have, for example, run a marathon. Someone that doesn't have run a marathon in their life are simply not on that same level. So the point again that I'm trying to make is sometimes we just have to accept that we are not in the situation or at a certain level that we want to be, that we think that we should be, or that we have already, that we already went, or that we already were, and that we have to accept that we are now a couple of steps back and work ourselves up from there. And I know, because I'm feeling it myself, that it is very difficult to accept and very hard to accept. But if we can change our perspectives and understand that and remind ourselves about that sometimes just things don't go as we want them to go, I think that it makes everything a lot easy. At least it does for me. So that's my perspective and that is my opinion. Let us know about yours, share them in the comments or send me a message. And for now, thank you again very much for listening.